This is Andy Purewal for ID Boxing. We are here in Congleton and I'm joined by renowned trainer Peter Fury. Peter, firstly, how are you?
Good to see you. It's been a while, hasn't it?
It has been. We were just speaking a bit off camera. I've been gallivanting over in America since we last saw each other.
I know, I thought you was over there. I thought you was over there for good.
Unfortunately not. You never know, one day, Peter. But I'm obviously here to catch up with yourself. Savannah, big fight for yourself, the gym, and obviously her on September 10th. Claressa Shields, undisputed middleweight championship first, and probably a bit of a boring question, but how has camp been so far?
You know, well, a lot of people wouldn't tell you the truth, would they, on this score? But no, it's gone well. She's coming on at the right times. She's picking up and she's peaking at the right time. So we're happy with it. It's
been a fight that's been spoken about for a few years now, Peter, and as someone who is as involved as what you are, how pleased are you for Savannah that she finally gets such a big opportunity where if she comes through with that victory, she really does announce herself to the world stage?
Yeah, I think we've got a phenomenal talent in Savannah Marshall, and I think she's going to show it September the 10th. I think she'll show it in style as well.
Take me back to the press conference from your perspective, Peter. Some of the things that Claressa was saying, she was trying to kind of suggest that Hannah Rankin had more success against Savannah than what people may have felt on the fight. There's a wasp flying around here. What did you make of maybe some of the comments around Savannah and maybe trying to put her down?
No, I'm fine with all of it. It don't matter to me. I think, I don't think I know that when each opponent gets in with Savannah, you know, they've got a different story to tell before and a totally different story to say after. So I'm quite sure after she's been in with Savannah, she'll realise just how awkward and difficult she really is.
It's the first time in Savannah's career where she's got a rivalry which has continued to brew over years and years, but we're seeing a different side to it. We're seeing that back and forth over social media. At the press conferences, they're to-ing and fro-ing different kind of statements towards each other. How much do you think that's brought out of Savannah in terms of her wanting to work harder, wanting to prove a point come September 10th?
Well, you've only got to look at it in the way I analyse it, because the way Claressa Shields is very vocal with it, and the way she's like, you know, is because she's taking it deadly serious. The other ones, not so serious. You know, she's super confident, knows she can breathe through them. Claressa Shields, she's a world-class boxer. And I'm not putting her down in any way, shape or form. She belongs where she is. But also, she's a bit of an analyst as well. So she knows a good fighter when she sees one. And she knows just how severe a threat Savannah really is. So when she comes out and she says all this stuff and there's like toing backwards and forwards, because Claressa knows Savannah's on the same level, or if not above. It cannot be on self-denial, but there will be doubt there, because at the end of the day, when you're at this level, fighting two similar levels, you know, this is how it is.
We know obviously about the knockout power that Savannah possesses, and during the press conference, Claressa was quite confident that she feels Savannah will feel her own power, and that Claressa is confident she can be the one to produce maybe the stoppage win when on paper it's not the way people would suggest it would go. Are you wary at all of Claressa's power? Do you think she possesses enough power to hurt Savannah?
The answer, no. Because Savannah spars with middleweight men, and she has open spars with them. She spars with punches as well. She's as tough as teak, so that's not going to happen. I'm not saying she can't punch at all, Claressa, but that's not her style. And the other thing as well, without giving too much away, if she plants her feet and tries to trade it with Savannah, she'll totally come unstuck, because Savannah can put a hole in your body. So there's that kind of power there. She's got freakish power. So Claressa's never tasted anything like Savannah's power anyway. So if she stands her feet and tries to impress her own power, that'll be her undoing. It'll end quick.
So I mean, with that knowledge as well, Peter, in your opinion, in Claressa's case, is her only chance of being successful if she was to just try to box and move and to stay away from Savannah throughout that fight?
Look, they've got their own plans, and you know, she's got good trainers, and it's not for me to say what Claressa needs to do, because obviously we need to get that fight and win it. You know, so that's what it is. But in answer to your question, to trade with somebody like Savannah would be suicide.
From a rivalry perspective, Peter, are you surprised at how much it's built up over the years and maybe it hasn't ever dwindled?
I'm not surprised because this is the biggest fight in women's boxing. I've said it and I'll say it again. It's bigger than all of them. We've got a double the gold medalist, who's not even come close to losing. She's outboxed everybody with ease. Yeah, you got Savannah here, who punches and can box. Is a formidable fighter. Her timing is excellent. Her timing is world class. So, like I say, this is a major fight because you've got two middleweights, which is like the heavyweight division in the males, and you've got a puncher versus a very, very skilled boxer. So these ingredients make this the best women's fight out there. Before, after, present, future, whatever. This is a cracking fight.
Interesting point that you made there, because I asked Savannah earlier, where does this fight rank in female boxing in terms of the fights we've had? We saw a massive fight between Katie Taylor and Amanda Serrano back in April. You've got Michaela Mayer, Alicia Baumgardner on the undercard as well. But for you, is this the fight so far in female boxing which is the biggest one we've seen up till now?
Not disrespecting those weight classes, but this is a different weight class.
Yeah.
That's what I'm on about. This is why this fight has got the most attention, because they're big girls, aren't they? Wonking it like an hammer. So it's going to be very interesting. The styles, what they are, where they've come from, the backstory. What they've achieved so far. You can put as many, whichever way you look at it. This fight supersedes everything else.
On the weight front,
for me it does anyway.
On the weight front, Peter, I was speaking to Savannah earlier. If she's successful come September 10th, she's undisputed at middleweight. What more is there for her to do? If this was an entertaining fight and the fans wanted to see it again, I'm sure we could see a second bout or a trilogy even if it was close. But away from Claressa, do you think the most likely outcome would then be for her to move up to 168?
Yeah, well, I don't know what that is, but that
super middleweight,
super middle, and light heavy. Yeah.
Is that something which you guys have discussed at all? Kind of a plan.
We have discussed it, and that is the plans.
Yeah.
So Savannah, God willing, she comes through this, and that's it. She'll move up, look to unify those belts, and move up to light heavyweight and do exactly the same.
Savannah said to me earlier about how much she wants to kind of make you proud. You've worked tirelessly together. You've built a close bond together. What, from your perspective, what would it mean to you to see her hand raised on September 10th?
That means everything because you put your life into it. So, like I say, we're very proud of her, whatever she does. If she falls over in the first round and breaks her ankle, it don't matter to me. It's unfortunate. But I'm proud of her achievements. I'm proud of what she does. I'm proud that she's been in this gym, worked with us, showed the loyalty, the respect, and everything else. Couldn't wish for a nicer person than Savannah Marshall. So, as many accolades I can give her as a human being, they're there. So like I say, she's a formidable person and a formidable fighter. And look, she represents us, the gym, everything. Because I'm just an old trainer man with a grey beard. This is Savannah Marshall's. This is their highlight. This is it. So it's my job to get her at the pinnacle of condition, skill-wise. Game plan wise, everything will come to a point on the night. She will be razor sharp for that night. There'll be no stones unturned on that night.
Peter, you've never been someone who's kind of gone and chased the cameras, chased kind of recognition for your work, but do you feel like you are recognised or you get the credit for what you've done in the sport so far?
I'm sure I do. There's a lot of fans out there and they get in touch with me on the social medias. And I do respect that, because look, if somebody says to you, you know what, Peter, you've done very well there, it's nice. Nobody likes to be criticised, do they? So if you get respected for the work you do, then it's the icing on the cake. It's nice. Ultimately, for me though, is getting the respect from my fighter and getting them to where they need to be. That's the goal for me more than anything.
In the past, you've said to me you've never really wanted to have a big gym full of fighters. You don't want to be training 5-6 different people. Has that ever changed at all, especially when you're seeing Savannah reach the pinnacle now when Huey's back, he's got a big fight around the corner? Does it kind of whet your appetite to have more involvement on those big nights, of those big stages?
I'm helping people here. I've got 5, 6, 7 people in the gym at the moment, and I'm helping them out to get them going, so it's all about, for me, I've got Savannah, she's almost where she is now. She get past this fight, like I said, she's probably got another 18 months, 2 years in the sport before, because getting these fights is hard work, you know. But and then obviously there's Huey, and then yeah, I'll be in it for a while. You know, I've got my great nephew here. He's only 16. He'll turn professional when he's 20. So I've got to take care of that issue as well. So I won't be going anywhere for a while, will I?
Peter, it's an interesting point you make. Kind of, it's difficult to get certain fights and what have you. From a political standpoint, there's a lot of boxing politics throughout the sport. How has it changed whilst you've been involved? Has it kind of frustrated you more? Has it become less frustrating? How would you sum it up?
I think, you know, a lot of people in boxing, you know, not everybody. There's people that work very hard, especially the trainers. You know, give them all respect in the world. It's a lonely sport, this, and it's hard work. You've got to lift yourself up every morning and get on with it and do it. You know, each session's a couple of hours. You know, it's twice a day. So that side I respect of it. A lot of the other side I don't respect. There's a lot of I don't know. It is what it is. Not my kind of people anyway. When I do a deal with somebody and a handshake them, that's it. You don't need a contract. I don't care if it's a 10,000 or 5 million. Yeah, that's the way I am. When I say something, I'll honour it. I'll do it. So you don't get that in boxing. It's like, you know, I've had an agreement with you, but I've done it with him, but it's fine. I don't think they realise half what they're doing. So it's just the way it is. So I keep myself to myself. I keep my circles very small. I'm not really interested in a lot of people in boxing. As long as my fighters get to where they're going, that's all I'm interested in. That's what matters to me. And if I never had the fighters and they didn't need me, I could walk off tomorrow, you know. But I don't need boxing for anything, you know. I'm in boxing for the main thing. I love boxing. I tell you, I'm not trying to say I don't love the boxing. I love the boxing. I've always been involved in it, but it's only for the fighters.
What do you think you would be doing now, Peter, if you wasn't involved in boxing?
I'd be abroad, keeping healthy, keeping fit, and probably living a good life, not tied down anywhere. I'd probably be travelling Europe and doing whatever I'm going to do, and I'd probably be heavily involved in business, you know, where I've got to balance it, scale things back, because my time is with boxing, nearly all my time.
Do you have any regrets on that front, just because of how demanding boxing can be, how full on it can be? Do you have any regrets that maybe you aren't able to be a bit more selfish with your own time?
Not really, you know. I'm happy enough. You know, I've got my son here. You know, I've got Savannah. You know, there's family involved, isn't there? So I've got no regrets at all. You know, I'm happy. I'm happy that they're achieving good things and continue to do good things. That's all you can do. You know, look, we can all chase a fiver and go mad and chase this and chase that, but we're all going one way. We're going in a box, and the thing is, you know, you're remembered for the person you are and your achievements. You're not remembered for being a good businessman, are you? You're not remembered for having millions of pounds in your bank. Nobody gives a toss about that, do they?
Peter, on the Huey front, what is obviously the latest with him? We know that the Michael Hunter fight had to be postponed because he felt ill. Firstly, is he okay? Is he back in the gym now?
He's fine. He's back in the gym. He's back training, and we're just hoping for a date now as soon as possible.
Is it definitely still going to be Michael Hunter?
It is.
When are you hoping for? Have you got?
Well, we'd like the end of September. You know, but I'm being told there's not much chance of that, and there's all kind of different dates being discussed. It seems like social media know more dates than we do. So I have asked, because I've seen it on social media, November the 12th. We're not happy with November the 12th, don't want it. It's too long. So I'm asking for something sooner. You know, so you know as much as me. That's what I've seen on social media, so I'm looking. We want it sooner, because it's a long time for us.
On the Michael Hunter front, as a fight itself, just kind of give me a bit of a breakdown on it and what you expect that to bring out of Huey.
It's a good fight. He's a good fighter, Michael Hunter, and that's why he's been picked. You know, he's not picked as somebody where he's just going to walk through him. He presents some world level challenges, does Michael Hunter. So unless you're on a world level, you're not coming through the Michael Hunters of the world. That's why everybody else ain't taking him, isn't it? So, you know, but I'm a boxing purist. Huey is, and if you're gonna be a world champion, you've got to get through these type of people.
We know that's an eliminator for the WBA regular title, which is currently held by Daniel Dubois. I imagine if Huey comes through. Michael, you'll want to try and kind of go straight for that one, unless you disagree. But would you be open to a Daniel Dubois fight for that regular title on the back of Michael Hunter?
Look, if they want that fight with Huey, providing he comes through it, yes, I'll tell you on camera now, that fight can happen. It would happen if they want it. But any messing around, he'll go another route. I'm not really bothered about a regular heavyweight title, to be honest. If it was a real WBA, it'd be a different story. If it was Usyk, then obviously jump at it. But it's a world title of sorts. To me, it's not a real world title. I'm not disrespecting it because I understand it's a world title. It's good to have, but it's not the real world title. We know who the real world champion is. It's Alexander Usyk.
With Daniel Dubois himself, though, what do you make of the improvements he's made since he's teamed up with Shane McGuigan and the challenges he might pose Huey if they were to cross paths one day?
Daniel Dubois is a big fella and he can punch, and he's got a very excellent team around him. I've always said, Shane McGuigan's a very good trainer, and he's proving that as he goes along. So he's got an excellent team, excellent guidance. All these fights will be difficult fights. All these fights on this kind of level are not easy. So yeah, he presents his own challenges as well.
Another big heavyweight fight on the horizon. Joyce-Parker. What are your thoughts on that one, Peter?
I think it's a good fight. I really do, and I think it's it's not going to be an easy fight. That I think it's a 50-50. That'll pose its own. It's swings and roundabouts. Big Joe though, he is a big talent, and he's a phenomenal puncher. He's got a phenomenal work rate, and he can hit. So, it's going to take some. He takes some stopping for sure. But Joyce-Parker's a good fighter as well.
Who do you kind of sway towards with that one?
It can go anyway. I don't really. On the form, and you'd have to say Joyce slight favourite in it.
Yep.
But it could easily go Parker's way as well.
You mentioned Alexander Usyk earlier. Obviously, he's very close to defending his unified crown against Anthony-Joshua now out in Saudi Arabia. As that rematch draws ever closer, Peter, what are your thoughts on that one?
Again, you'd have to slightly edge Usyk, and the reason I'm going to edge towards Usyk because he landslided it the first time with ease. It wasn't a close fight, was it? So he's got a lot of changes to make. The question is, we all know what he needs to do. Is he able to do it, especially under the spotlight? But listen, I've got to give credit where it's due though, and I always speak fairly and balanced. I wish both fighters all the best anyway. But like I said, you've got to give Joshua his credit because he's not cherry-picked anybody. He has took the bull by the horns and took the fights. This is what happens, though, when you take top-level fights and you're not matched carefully. Because you can have a loss. This is the thing. A lot of people think, zero, to lose your zero is terrible. Well, you can be 50, can't you? It depends who you've boxed, doesn't it? So that's my point. So he's come short because of who he's up against. Doesn't mean he's any less of a fighter. All Usyk did was expose all of Joshua's weaknesses. Can Joshua go back to the drawing board, remedy them weaknesses, and see a better fight? I think he can. I think we'll see a better fight this time. So I edge it slightly towards Usyk because of the past performance. But looking at him, at the size difference, the power ratio, and everything else, should be a 50-50.
I've seen suggestions from people in the past, and I've posed this question to other trainers as well, that have you seen a mentality issue with Anthony-Joshua when he takes a shot? Go back to some of the difficult fights he's had. The Klitschko fight, granted he won, but was up and down. Andy Ruiz, very difficult defeat. Alexander Usyk, who was sublime in that first fight. Do you think there's a mentality issue with Anthony-Joshua when it comes to taking a shot?
I think the trouble is in the heavyweight game. I think if you get it right, anybody will go down. I think it's how you deal with it when you get it. The case of like standing on your feet and going over is not the issue, because there is nobody with a cast iron chin. When you get it, you make a mistake and you're walking into 17, 18 stone, you're walking into an hammer. You're going to go over. So, like I said, you wouldn't get any tougher than Mike Tyson. He's been over. This is it. When you get it right, it's how you respond from that shot. That's the key.
I mean, when you speak about shots like that, how much credit does Tyson deserve for what he went through with Deontay to get up the canvas in the fights that he did?
Well, of course, you don't know what you're like until you're properly tested. So, let's see what Joshua does when he is tested.
What do you make of AJ's link up with Robert Garcia? In fact, he's pulled him into his camp.
I think it can be a good thing. It can be a bad thing. I don't know, to be honest with you. It just depends. If he believes it's a good thing, then it should be a good thing, But if you if you're trying to change everything, you can how do you put it? You can come a little bit manufactured when you're trying to just change everything up. Best box to your own DNA, box naturally and sharpen your tools, rather than do 360-degree big changes. And there's another thing. Heavyweights are a different ball game. What they like with heavyweights, we'll soon see. They can have a string of champions in all different weights. Jump up to heavyweight, it's just a different ball game. So like I said, it just depends. You can get trainers where they're dealing with lighter weights or short fighters, and they want to work on punch volume, slipping and sliding on the inside, and boxing like a 5'5", But obviously I'm not saying that's the case here. I'm just giving you some scenarios. Some trainers train fighters the same. But I'm sure it's not with this Robert Garcia. I've heard he's a world level trainer, and I'm sure the man's done the best he can. But you can lead an horse to water, you can't make it drink it, can you? So it's one of them.
Peter, we've seen some reports over the last couple of weeks as well that Tyson might make his ring return against Derek Chisora in a trilogy bout. We saw what happened in the first two fights, obviously he was involved there. What would happen in a trilogy bout?
I got no interest in any of that, it's not my business.
That's fair enough, Peter. One final one just to end on then. Chris Eubank Jr. and Conor Benn. That one's being spoken about as a potential catchweight fight. Are you interested by that bout?
I am, because of the fathers. I'm very interested in it. I think it's a cracking fight, to be honest. I think it's a little bit too early for Ben. They're looking at Eubank. Eubank's got a lot of experience behind him. He's been a pro a long time. It's all right looking. He's gone with Roy Jones. He's made amendments, and he's had a few performances which you could say, well, they're not all that. But look, he's got a lot of rounds behind him, and at the end of the day, when it comes down to it, I think young Ben is a phenomenal fighter. I think he's going to get there. I think he's equally like his dad. He could even do more, which is going to be hard to follow in your dad's footsteps, because he was a phenomenal fighter, Nigel Benn. But his lad is, to be fair. He's a phenomenal talent himself. But looking at the experience he's had and the time he's been in it, for me, he should have had longer. I think it'll be a hard fight, but I would favour Eubank on just the sheer experience he's had more than Ben.
Would you like to see?
Plus, he's naturally bigger. There's that issue as well.
Would you like to see Ben Eubank Jr. over, say, Chris Eubank Jr. chase a world title at middleweight, and Conor Benn do the same at welterweight?
Yeah, I'd like to see the fight between them later on. Not now. That's just my opinion. Because I think later on, then it's a pick-em. Who do you think's going to win it? But now, I think it's more leaning towards Eubank because of the experience level. Mainly because of the experience level, that's what I see. But listen, it's still going to be a hell of a fight, that is. It won't be an easy fight for both of them. But I just feel the time in it, the experience involved, I think it edges the other one. It more favours Eubank at this time. I think another 18 months, 2 years, be a different story.
Right, Peter, we will leave that there now. I'll leave you to kind of get on with your evening. I appreciate you for speaking to me once again. Thank you for speaking to me in ID Boxing.
No problem, anytime.